Wrestling fans around the world, this is Effie from, wrestling and the internet, and you're listening to Count It Out with Mike and Tyler.
Well, we are live, pals, and welcome to another edition of the Bill Apter Sealed of Approved, Count It Out with Mike and Tyler. My name is Tyler, and I am joined as always by the one and only Mojito Mike. Hello, sir.
Do you have a little stroke right there? You forgot your name for a second?
I paused and I cracked my drink. I was being cool and edgy.
Ooh. Not exactly your strong suit.
I'm hip. I'm cool. Yeah, there goes. Thanks for tuning us this week, everybody.
We are officially, we have put another Super Bowl behind us.
I don't care.
Do you enjoy the game? It was a good game.
I don't care. I'm butthurt. The Bengals.
Yeah, you are.
The Bengals lost. I don't care. Football ended 2 weeks ago, and it doesn't start again until August when I start prepping for fantasy. No, the game was great. I enjoyed it. I did.
It was a good game. Except for all those extra butthurt people bitching and whining about that holding call.
That's a penalty, man.
Penalty's a penalty. Listen, man, when it's a dirty call, I call a dirty call. I called dirty call during that fucking last Bengals game with the Casey. There's a couple of dirty calls in that game. But when it's clean, it's fucking clean. I watched those last 30 seconds over and over again. Man, listen, you know how you don't get a holding call at the end of the game?
Don't tug twice. Don't tug twice.
There you go.
If the player came out and said I held, he held. End of story. Move on. Stop crying. Don't blow a fucking 10-point lead at halftime, you know?
That's it.
But we're not a football podcast. We are a wrestling podcast, and we have wrestling to talk about today. And I think that we should jump into something kind of fun right off the get-go. What do you think?
Let's do it. Well, let's say the reason for the season. As we are recording this, we are minutes away from it officially being Valentine's Day.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of, those, many of you may not remember, it used to be back in the day, the WWE's token February pay-per-view was a little thing called Vengence.
Vengeance was never in February, man. I don't know why you think it was.
It sure was.
No,
because
man.
It was. Would you like me to go through a couple fucking dates for you, Dildo?
I'd love to, because Vengeance was mainly the July pay-per-view. Dillhole.
I'm sure. Yeah, I know it was for a while, but it started off as the February one. Like 2001 was in February. I promise you.
2001, it might have been, but I associate it with July. But either way.
Yeah, but I don't care about you.
Hmm.
I don't give a fuck about you. And the fact is, it is now back in February. It's called the Vengeance Day pay-per-view. And they use the same logo and everything, so I count it. It's still Vengeance.
It's always going to be St. Valentine's Day Massacre to me.
They've only had one of those.
That's all they needed. Gold Dust versus Blue Dust, number one with a bullet.
They debut a big nasty Paul White.
No, I stand by Gold Dust versus Blue Dust. All right.
Well, we're getting off to a great start today. I already hate you. Let's talk about the fun little shit you want to do.
Yeah, well, it's something that you did actually. I know that you don't like this interview very much, but I thought it was pretty good. I think you did a good job. Yeah, we're gonna start off with an interview you did a couple of weeks ago at Destiny Wrestling. You had a chance to sit down with Impact Wrestling superstar Alan Angels, and
let me tell you something. It's the interviewer I don't like in this interview, not the interview. Alan Angels was fantastic. He was such a cool guy. He was very nice to us. He literally had to run and catch his transport to get the fuck out of Toronto, and he's like, well, I got a couple minutes. If you guys want to do something, let's do something. And he did something. It's so cool. Didn't have to do that. Didn't have to at all. If he was a tag team champion, he would have told us to fuck themselves, to fuck ourselves and run away.
Well,
You know what I mean? Like
Kayfabe, brother. Kayfabe, brother.
He didn't have to do it, but he did. Very cool guy. Thank you very much, Angels, for doing this. I apologize to everybody about to listen to it. I kind of fucked about it on this one, but it is what it is. We get there. We get the information. It's not very long, but he didn't have a long time for us. So
well, let's let the people be the judge, Mike, because I think you did a great job. So without further ado, here is Mike talking to Alan Angels.
All right, guys, we just finished up here at Destiny Wrestling. I am here with the one and only Alan Angels from Impact Wrestling.
That's me.
Alan, first of all, great show tonight. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah.
We're here in Mississauga, Ontario. This is not the last time we're going to see you here in Canada in the short future. Impact coming to Windsor for Sacrifice. Yeah. Windsor coming, or not Windsor coming. Impact coming to right here to Toronto as well for Rebellion. Tickets sold out really fast for these shows. Yeah. Canadians want you guys here. Yeah. Is there a buzz in the Impact Wrestling show in Impact Wrestling for you guys in the locker room for you guys to come back here? Is there, what's it like in the locker room knowing you're coming back to Canada?
Oh, I mean, our world champion's from Canada.
That's it, right?
So, I mean, I think we're all looking forward to it. And the fact that they did sell out so fast is awesome. Actually, this is my first time in Canada today.
Today?
Yeah.
That is amazing.
And I got here 15 minutes before my match. So, and then I'm leaving in a few hours. So
no trouble at the border, I hope.
No trouble. I literally just in and out. But yeah, I was handed a Canadian bill today, and I had no idea what to do with it. I was, so. But yeah, no, we're all excited to come back to Canada for sure.
Well, speaking about the world champion, what is listen? You're in a place right now where you might be one of those guys in the ring with Josh Alexander. What's it like watching him grow from where he was a couple years ago to being the world champion? Yeah. Us as Canadians, we're loving it. But what's it like someone being in, as competitive as you are, as proud to be in that locker room? What's it like to share a locker room with somebody like with Alexander?
Yeah, Josh Alexander's awesome. And I was even telling somebody the other day that, he personifies what I think a world champion should be, if that makes sense. 100%. I think he looks the part, he acts the part, he is that old school almost what a world champion is supposed to represent in a company, and he really carries the Impact banner on his back. And he's one of the guys that I definitely want to get in the ring with sometime soon for sure.
I have no doubt we'll be seeing that soon enough. Yeah. Speaking of you and Impact, since you've come in, now we saw for the whole last year Violent by Design be this force to be reckoned with. Since you and Big Con have joined up with Diener, we've seen a very different side of the design. What is it? Is it important to you to have done something different with it than what Eric did?
Yeah. I think when we first started, we wanted to take the essence of Violent by Design, but we wanted to have it be something completely different, so that not everybody wasn't just oh, this is just a Violent by Design knockoff or whatever they wanted to call it. We wanted it to be different. We wanted it to be something that was our own as opposed to what was Eric's, if that makes sense. We wanted it to be the design, It
makes 100% and it's working. Fans are behind it. Fans are loving it.
Yeah.
You're doing some great stuff with it.
Thank you.
Last thing I do want to ask you, of course, very famously before you were with Design, you were with the Dark Order. We're hoping, do you have anything you could tell us, any stories, any memories of the late, great Brody Lee?
I mean, the biggest memory I have with Brody is, there's a few. I think just all the times that we spent in the locker room, and he's just one of the funniest guys. Everybody just in the locker room chatting it up. Just nothing specific. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just the camaraderie of everybody just with him. Of the boys. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we had it was a 12-man tag one time, and I just asked him after the match how I did, how he thought I did, and he was like, "Man, you did great. You fit in with us perfectly." So and that was ultimate compliment at the time. So.
Well, I know you have a bus to catch. We don't want to keep you here in Canada too long, but we will see you back here, hopefully, right here in Destiny Wrestling. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Alan Angels, ladies and gentlemen, you've been counted out.
See, that was great, Mike. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
How badass was that T-shirt?
Oh, I love that T-shirt. Have you bought yours yet?
Not yet, not yet. I got some shit to do first, but it's on
You
Pro
know,
Wrestling Tees. I will eventually get one.
well, because every time you go on Pro Wrestling Tees, you always buy your official Counted Out T-shirt, which you can get on
Exactly.
there. So
There
buy
you
our
go.
shirts, guys, please.
But yeah, no, thank you for that. That was it. Once I got my stride, it was a fun interview. I enjoyed talking to him. I'm just a lot like you. I am my own worst critic.
Yeah, I've
And,
never done anything good before. Ever.
At least you didn't grow up with this debilitating fucking stutter that just kills you when you're nervous. And oh, did I feel nervous that day?
Can I ask you a question? I'm gonna put you on the spot on air here. Is that your first ever interview, like in person, like with a microphone, like, or at least your first big one, or?
Yeah, every interview I've ever done before has either been on Zoom or on the phone.
No shit.
Yeah, yeah. To my knowledge, I've never done. I cannot ever remember doing a face-to-face interview like that before.
My first one was actually Blake Christian.
That's right. Which
And
was only a month before my Angels. So,
and I had no questions prepped for him. I was like, just wung it. I didn't know what to do with my hands. It was awkward. Also thanks to Good Walsh for filling in yesterday or last week. That was a highly enjoyable show. So thank you, Mr. Walsh.
Yeah, I'm glad Good Walsh came on here. I think that's his name from now on. I don't think he's Andrew anymore. I think he's Good Walsh.
Yeah, we're going Good Walsh. I love it.
Good Walsh.
Before we get to your vengeances, so I want to have a little fun this week. I have kind of put together what I hope is going to be the WrestleMania card this year, or at least some matches. I'm not going to go like, this is night 1, blah, 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 blah. This is night 2.
Yeah,
I just have some fun matches that I want to put together. And, you know, every time that you make these cards, because I've done a couple like the rebookings for our colleagues at the Good Friends, Better Enemies podcast there. And I feel like every time that I make these cards, it's similar to doing a list where there's always like an odd person out.
Yeah.
And I can't believe I'm about to say this, but right now, my odd person out is Seth Rollins.
Oof.
And I want to run through.
I'm sure we'll find something.
Yeah, I want to run through some of my matches, and I want you to keep Seth in the back of your mind and let me know if you would sub him anywhere. Because I had a couple ideas as well. And I'll tell you, I'll start off with the one match that I'd like to see for the Intercontinental Championship. I'd like to see Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre versus Gunter versus Brock Lesnar in a fatal 4-way match.
Okay, say that again.
Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre versus Gunter versus Brock Lesnar, fatal 4-way for the IC title. Now, I have a reason behind this.
I don't like Brock in there, but okay.
I want Brock in there to tease a one-on-one match with Gunter later in the year. And I you put those 4 guys together, they're going to have a fucking banger, man.
Yeah, I agree that, but Brock and Bobby is your money match, man.
I think they're going to do that Chamber.
No, they're doing it at Mania. I guarantee they're doing it at Mania. Bobby's
another guy that I kind of have on the back as my odd man out at this Mania card too. I'm not interested in Brock and Bobby.
I'm telling you, whether you're interested or not, I'm telling you, you're getting it. But
I'm not saying like this isn't the card that we're getting at Mania. This is what I want to see. I put a couple matches that they've announced and confirmed. Like I didn't fuck with that, but this is what I wish that they would do.
Listen, your two guys, your two odd guys out there. They could put a good match together. Seth and Bobby.
I thought about that. We've seen a lot. I also thought about taking Drew out of that match, putting Bobby in, and doing Seth versus Drew McIntyre. Because I feel like we haven't seen that before.
We haven't, but I'm really liking the slow face turn on Seth.
Me too. And that's why I didn't pull the trigger on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get there with Seth. We'll find something for Seth.
We'll find something. I did the 6-woman tag match that they're teasing for Elimination Chamber. It looks like they kind of backed out on it now because Dakota Kai is injured. But I got Becky, Lita, and Trish going up against Damage Control at WrestleMania. That feels like more of a WrestleMania match than a Elimination Chamber match.
I like that a lot. That's a great match right there.
I also would like to see John Cena and Logan Paul fight. If you're gonna bring Cena in for Mania,
Yeah.
I want him and Logan Paul together.
Apparently, they went from Cena and Theory to Cena and Logan, and now back to Cena and Theory.
That's what I've heard too.
Yeah.
You could maybe do Pat McAfee and Seth Rollins too. But again, Seth's turning face. It doesn't work.
I'm like, now I don't hate that. Also, I could see some sort of weird tag thing going on too. Have Logan and somebody versus Pat and Seth. You know what I mean?
He could do? Steve Bourne actually pitched this idea. Steve gave me a couple matches here that I blatantly stole and will pass on my own. But he mentioned doing some kind of a tag match with Pat McAfee against Corey Graves, because Corey Graves is cleared now as well.
Yeah,
and they're kind of doing their little beef thing. You could do like Pat McAfee and insert babyface here against whatever. Corey Graves.
I mean, very, very, very easy way to get some people on the card here. Do an intergender tag match. Corey and Carmella.
Yeah, I like that.
Versus Pat McAfee and Liv Morgan.
Yeah, Liv Morgan, or you could even put Becky in there if you don't do that 6-woman tag, right? Because Becky's kind of going into Mania this year. Becky doesn't really have a path yet.
That's right.
I don't know what to do with Austin Theory either. He's kind of lost for me.
Yeah,
I
Austin Theory's not.
You could put him and Corey Graves.
He's not exactly a priority for me. Him and Corey Graves would be fun.
Him and Corey Graves against McAfee
I mean, with the history from last year and all.
Yeah, it ties in, right?
Yeah.
I'd like to see Bianca Belair defend the women's championship against Asuka on the Raw side. I think you put Asuka over the Chamber.
I was just saying, you put Asuka over in the Chamber.
I think
I
so.
do too.
100%. I think so. We're already locked in with Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair, so I'm not going to change that.
Asuka was hot as fuck coming out of the Rumble. People popped big for her at the Rumble, so I think that makes sense.
Get a new look. I like it. I didn't change the women's title match. If we're locked in for Rhea and Charlotte, then that's what we're getting. I didn't change Roman and Cody either. We're locked in for it. There's no point to fantasy book if we're already locked in for it. I still think it's too soon for Cody personally. I would like to have seen him have a program coming in. I don't hate the idea though of Cody losing at WrestleMania, and
I think that's what we're getting, man.
And really chasing and having a bigger moment. I know it's crazy to say like you have a bigger moment than winning in a main event at WrestleMania, but I think they could tell a better story. And I'm really worried that Cody is going to get the Batista treatment where everyone is choosing Sami Zayn and they're going to turn on Cody. And you can kind of see it happening already a little bit. I do think that personally, Sami and Roman should be your WrestleMania main event. I think it's the hottest angle in the company.
Listen, and also, there's certain milestones and certain records in our lifetime you don't get to see often. In modern wrestling, you don't get to see a lot of guys go for the big records. If Roman holds on to that Universal title until I believe it's June, he'll beat excuse me, Pedro Morales' record.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that happen.
Yeah, me too.
So I love you, Cody, but I'm kind of putting my money on Roman and hoping that Roman rides this title right out at least until SummerSlam.
Yeah, I'd like to see Ray and Dom have their first match. I don't want it to be the mask versus hair match yet. I think that's too soon for that. I think we can keep riding this program out for a while.
I think so too. You do their first match. We have a Brett and Owen thing going on. Their first match happens at WrestleMania, and their blow off happens at SummerSlam.
I love when they start programs at WrestleMania because so many times we finish programs at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But a great example of finishing a program at WrestleMania, I think we finally get Edge and Finn Balor in the Hell in a Cell. I think that makes sense.
How cool would it be? How fucking cool would it be if we had a moment like WrestleMania 10 where somewhere down the card in WrestleMania, Ray was able to get a big moment, like a really cool moment for Ray. Let's say he won the tag titles or he won the IC title or something. and there's Dom standing on the stage shaking his fucking head, doing the Owen and Brett thing. That'd be so cool.
I mean, you could even if you had Ray win a title night 2. You know what I mean? Like Dominic could beat him night 1.
Have Dom beat him in night 1, and then Ray gets his triumph back on night 2. That'd be so cool. I like that.
For the U.S. title, I took this one from Steve Bourne as well. I thought it was really good. Originally, I had AJ Styles going up against Gunter for the IC title because I just thought that would be an amazing match. But I like kind of what Steve said. He said you put Gargano over at Hell in the Chamber for the U.S. title, and you go AJ Styles against Johnny Gargano.
Yeah, I'm okay with that because especially if they're going to do Cena versus Theory, Cena doesn't need a U.S. title match.
100%, right?
You know,
because I think you got to put Cena over Theory. I know a lot of people are going the other way around here, but I don't think a win for Theory over Cena is going to change him.
It doesn't change anything. It really doesn't. I hate to say it, but Theory that's not a make Theory thing. It just doesn't. I get it. Like there's a lot of these matches where the legend comes in to put the other guy over. In this instance, it feels like it would just be a letdown.
Yeah, I mean, Theory's been feuding with Seth a lot as well. So maybe you could have Theory come out and do like a segment where he's like, Seth, last year you failed at doing this. I'm going to issue a real open challenge this year.
Now,
you know who I'd like to see answer though if they did that?
Who's that?
I'd like to see the Undertaker answer it. Just gong, entrance, choke slam. I don't want to see him fight a match. I just think I think Taker. I just in that spot. You know what I mean? Taker.
Yeah, fun obligatory spot. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I think Theory's a great guy for it.
Now we just talked about how I don't think Theory needs to beat or should beat Cena, right? However, flip over to what you want to see. I put Logan Paul over Cena.
Me too, because I think it would mean something more. So to me, though, the big names that I'm having a hard time finding a place for are Seth Rollins and Ronda Rousey.
Lots of places for Ronda, I think. Right now, there's talks about her being in some sort of weird tag match.
Yeah, but now Dakota Kai is hurt, right?
Oh, that's right.
I wouldn't have a problem if they did Ronda versus Becky either. It just kind of feels cold right now. But those two have that natural heat where they could heat it up pretty quick. But yeah, that's like I can't really. I don't hate the idea of Ronda and Shayna going for the tag titles. I don't hate that.
I like that a lot.
Me too. But yeah, I don't know, man. How about you guys hit us up on some social media? Leave us some comments. What do you want to see at WrestleMania this year, guys? This isn't what I think is going to happen at WrestleMania. This is just what I'd like to see happen at WrestleMania. Yeah, and I forgot. Sorry, I forgot my big one. I was saving it till the end. What I think should main event night 1 at WrestleMania is the Usos versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens for the tag team titles.
Yeah,
I think I've heard rumors that the Usos have been cleared to come into Canada. I don't know how true that is, but I mean, if you have Jey Uso,
okay, there we go, man. Right? If the Usos can get in, Nick Gage can get in.
If I don't think Nick Gage is getting into Canada, but if you have Jey Uso cost Sami Zayn the match, have the Usos beating down Sami in Montreal, and then have Kevin Owens return, make the save, the pop is going to be huge. Then you have Kevin and Sami getting a nice moment in Montreal after. You've got that blood feud now with Jey and Sami. Like, I think that's strong enough to main event night 1 of WrestleMania.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with you on that. The match would be great.
Yeah. Sami Zayn is the hottest thing in wrestling right now. But leave us your comments. Let us know what you think, guys. What do you want to see at WrestleMania this year?
Hit it in that comment bar right down there, right there, over by that subscribe button.
Yeah, hit that one first.
Hit that first.
Tell a friend. Mike and I are working on a giveaway too. We're gonna do a giveaway in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, we're start doing some giveaway. We have a bunch of shit we haven't given it away.
Yeah, we got about 3 or 4 things. How about we start with the Motor City Machine Gun one?
Ooh, I like that.
We've got an autograph picture of the Motor City Machine Guns, as well as Von Vertigo and Gabriel Fuerza, hot off their last Destiny match. So how about we start by giving away that?
That's 4 autographs on one picture. One of the greatest tag teams in history, and the Motor City Machine Guns. It's
I like that.
no, it's the one of the greatest tag teams in history, the Motor City Machine Guns, and 2 guys that are going to be making their way all over the world this year.
Yeah,
and I mean that they're going out to Europe real soon, and that's Fight or Flight. So you don't want to miss an opportunity to grab one of these pictures, man. And you could say that you got this picture from their indie days before they got fucking crazy famous.
Which will happen. They are too talented not to.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we got that signed at Destiny Wrestling, which next show is March the 19th with Devon Dudley, with who did they announce? Madman Fulton and Trent Seven.
Trent Seven's on the show. Madman Fulton taking on Tarek himself. Trent Seven's on the show. Devon's sons. Forgive me, I forget their names, but they're a formidable tag team of their own, and he'll be out. I'm going to guess Devon's going to be managing them or something.
Yeah.
But Devon will be there with his boys, so that's pretty cool.
And then, of course, Barry Wrestling the weekend before that, March the 4th, with longest reigning Impact Wrestling champion, the walking weapon, Josh Alexander. Can't wait to watch him beat up John Atlas in my honor for him being so mean to me all the time. Try my best, John Atlas. Try my best. So never good enough for John Atlas. But I'm very honored that I will get to be getting to do the entrance for the Impact Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion. Like, I'm pumped up for that.
You say that, but Atlas isn't going to let you.
Atlas won't let me do his entrance.
I would just be careful.
Oh, don't do that to me, John Atlas.
Atlas might take the whole match from you.
I don't have a lot of things that I get excited about in the world right now. Don't do that, John Atlas.
As long as John Atlas doesn't fuck you over, you're gonna have the opportunity that guys like Dave Penzer has.
Mm-hmm.
You get to announce, a friend of the show, Dave Penzer, by the way.
That is correct.
You get to announce the Impact World Champion down to the ring. That's pretty badass.
Man, I love life sometimes. It's so cool. And then, of course, you and I are going on a couple trips, man. We're going to GCW, coming to Toronto. Then we're going away for a weekend together. Look out, Windsor. Look out, Windsor. Here come the boys from Count It Out. We're going to meet up with Adam down there.
We're going to get a what's it called? A bed and breakfast, romantic weekend away.
Oh.
Ooh. Man. We got a bunch of shows coming up. You beat me to it. I was trying to find the dates to write the dates down because I'm bad with dates unless they're written in front of me. But fuck it. We have GCW. What's the name of that GCW show? Worst Intentions or some shit.
Don't have
it's there's an actual name for it. Live on Fight if you can't be there, but if you
can't be there because it's sold out.
And if you don't have your tickets, you're not going to be there. You'll be watching it on Fight. If you're like us, you'll be at the Opera House that very night watching GCW. We know the other guys we know are going to be there. We know Bussy's going to be there. That's Ali Catch and Effie. We know Always Ready himself, one of our best friends. He just doesn't know it yet. Matt Cardona, he's going to be there.
Yeah. Speedball Mike Bailey.
Speedball Mike Bailey will be there. Speaking of Speedball Mike Bailey, we'll be seeing Speedball again exactly 1 week later when we're in Windsor for Sacrifice.
I'm excited, man.
And then we get to see the tapings for the next week or two with Sacrifice. And then skip like another month, and they're right back in Toronto, and we're going to be going to the Rebel Music Hall for Impact's Rebellion pay-per-view.
Yeah, I might
of wrestling.
I'm trying to convince the wife to go to Demand Lucha with me this week too. It'll be tonight as the show is airing, so we'll see. Jimmy Hart's going to be there, Joey Janela, Gringo Loco, Jody
boy,
Threat,
Jack Evans.
and Jack Evans from the heavens. My
And-
favorite show bumper.
And the different boy, Jimmy Lloyd, will be there.
Yeah, a lot of fun stuff.
I wish I could go to that show. Yeah.
I've been a good boy lately.
Man.
Maybe the wife will let me go play wrestling with her.
There's so. Oh yeah.
Oh.
There's so much good wrestling around right now.
Yeah,
Good time to be a fan, man. Good
well,
time
let's
to be a
see.
fan.
Let's see if your list is going to be good.
Well, what I'm doing, I was thinking a lot about Vengeance, and I listed. Now there are, including the NXT pay-per-views, there are 11 Vengeance pay-per-views. I took all 11, and I ranked their main events. So I have the top 7 Vengeance main events right here in front of me. And I feel pretty good about this list, man.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I might get heat about one item, but I'm going to justify it pretty fucking good, I think.
I don't remember. I haven't watched a lot of these matches in a long time, so I'm going to take your word for some of it. I'm going to just go on memory from like 15 years ago on some of it.
I rewatched every single one of them, and almost all of them. It was like watching them for the first time because it's been so long. Yeah.
I just got joined by Lucy the cat. I haven't recorded at home in a long time. Normally I'm at work or at your house lately, and Lucy the cat just jumped in the office and took a big old shit. So that's going to be great for the list.
I love it.
Fantastic.
Man, maybe one of these days I'll do a show where I'm not sick as fuck.
Yeah, you've been sick forever. I think I'm getting sick too.
No, it's kind of a good thing you're not sitting here in my house this week.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, what do you say? A little Vengeance list this week?
Hit me with the number 7, bro.
Number 7, we're going to the last one of the proper WWE Vengeance pay-per-views before going to NXT. This is 2011. The main event was a last man standing match between John Cena and Alberto Del Rio.
Ah, okay. I've never watched this match before, so I'm intrigued by it.
I mean,
is it just like you had to put a 7 on? Like it was the best of what was left?
I mean, it was better than the 2 matches that didn't make the list. I'm not going to say which ones didn't yet, but it was better than the ones that didn't make the list. But it's my number 7 for a reason. It's not a horrible match, hence it making the list. There was just some screwy finish shit that I didn't like. There was some involvement by Miz and R-Truth near the end. It was a dusty finish basically.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you don't need that in a last man standing match. So I was a little thrown off by that. That put it in number 7 spot for me. However, one of the things that made it on my list, I'm going to tell you, one of the things that made it a little unique. I like when they just throw a little bit of something to make the match just a bit unique. The match before this involved, I want to say, I know somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to say it was Mark Henry and the Big Show.
I believe you're correct. Superplex spot, right?
And they did the superplex spot where they fucked up the ring. Well, now they're going to the main event and there's no fucking ring. So they're having a last man standing match in a busted ring. You don't see that shit every day, right?
Yeah. That's
so I
cool.
thought that was a cool twist to it. You know,
that is cool. I like that.
It was a little something to make the match a little bit different, and little things like that, and a couple spots they did around the ring made it 7 worthy.
That's fair.
Now I don't think anybody's going to argue with me that that's my number 7 spot. I think a lot of people are going to argue my number 6 spot, but I'm going to justify it as hard as I can. My number 6 is the greatest story ever told. If you ask Chris Jericho.
Wow.
We're going to 2001 and we're doing Austin versus Jericho.
Okay. Are you counting like the Rock part of that as well? Okay.
I gave a lot of thought. I had to make a line in the sand. That the main event was the last match. The last match was Jericho and Austin.
Okay. I'm not going to argue on this placement then.
If I'm talking about the whole thing, starting with Rock and Jericho, moving in, because it kind of moves in seamlessly. So I gave a lot of thought to having the whole thing, but it's not. It is 2 matches.
Yeah.
So it's we're not talking about two matches. We're talking about one match. And this one match just didn't do it for me. For a lot of reasons. I mean, Jericho was already burnt out. Austin, I'm going to be honest with you, man. Austin didn't look like he was into this match at all.
Austin also had worked the match before, right?
Yes, he had. Yeah.
He fought Kurt Angle, which is no easy task. And
then
probably knew he was doing the JOB, so he didn't, hell no, son. And
then all the shenanigans by Vince and there was Booker, and there was just so much shit going on. And I'll be perfectly honest with you. In 2001, to this day, I still don't buy him as your world champion.
Yeah, and they booked Jericho, terribly after this.
They really did.
I mean, I thought it was a good place to put him, and to beat Austin The Rock in the same night, they just didn't follow it up properly. And Jericho milked that for years. Like Jericho really
milks it.
Yeah, he made the best of what he was given to work with. But then when you go into your next program is fucking carrying Stephanie McMahon's dog leash, like you're done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He didn't stand a chance.
Exactly. He wasn't his first reign. He wasn't a great champion.
No,
he wasn't given good, and it's not his fault. He just wasn't giving good stories or good booking.
Yeah, because they didn't revolve the company around him, right? Like the company was revolving around Rock, Austin, and Triple H. Still, Triple H was getting ready to come back from injury. That was the big story. Jericho fought Rock at the Rumble that year. He was having great matches. They just
and they were really focused on the WCW stories.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big thing too. Nobody was able to really get in edgewise when they were focusing on the WCW invasion. I know it hadn't started yet, but it was on its way.
Yeah.
No,
it was over by this point.
Was it over by this point?
Yeah, it ended the month before. This was in December.
Okay, because I know that the WCW title was still like a thing at the time.
That was like to unify it.
And Booker just joined the company.
Yeah, so Booker had been around for a while. Booker came in June that year, and
I was pretty sure they mentioned. I thought they mentioned on the pay-per-view that he came in like the week before or something.
No, so he came back because he was fired after Survivor Series, right?
Okay,
but basically, just to kind of refresh your memory, I guess a little bit because the time period is a little wonky. Austin and Angle was for the WWE title.
Yes.
Jericho and Rock was for the WCW title. And then the last match was to unify it.
Right.
I don't have heat with your placement here because you didn't count the Rock match. So if you counted the whole story, I'd be like, okay, this is probably a top 3. But since it's just the Austin
it was the whole story, it would probably be in my 4 to 3 spot.
Yeah.
But just based on just the Steve Austin match, it's a solid number 6.
Yeah, I'm not going to fight you on that.
Moving on to my number 5. A match I wanted to love a lot more, but they've had better matches, and that's just the point of it. But it was still a great match. And we're going to 2004. We're doing Chris Benoit versus Triple H.
This was a good match. I agree. I agree with what you said. This is just a solid match from start to finish. I'm sensing a theme with your first few matches, though. A lot of shenanigans.
Yeah, right. All these matches so far. Just first, you have Miz and R-Truth, then you have Booker and Vince, and now you have fucking Eugene.
Yeah.
It was to me that took away from the match, and I get it. It was part of the story. I understand. They could do that with a match here because Triple H and Chris have already had 2,000 other matches.
I remember.
Just talking about this one match, it was what it was.
I remember this being a very good wrestling match, though, before the shenanigans. Like, I remember a lot of great mat work in this match, and you have to refresh my memory if I'm wrong on that. But I feel like these guys were really building up a great match and a great story until the wonkiness.
You're 100% right. It was a really good wrestling match for the first, let's say, 10 to 15 minutes, to the point where even JR, and I love this, I'm sure fans in 2004 didn't love this, but I loved it. JR kept saying that if Chris Benoit is the greatest technical wrestler in WWE, Triple H is 1A.
Yeah.
So he's really
I mean,
pushing Triple H's
Kurt Angle's
technical
still in your
abilities
company, but I like trying to put
but
Triple
you
H
know,
over like that. And of course, Triple H is a great technical wrestler.
and for Jim Ross, your white meat babyface to be putting over Triple H like that, it does the job, right?
Yeah,
And
I like when
it makes
when
you
the
believe that he can beat Chris Benoit, which he hadn't been able to do.
That's why I like JR though, because like even though like he'd make a point to be like, this guy's a son of a bitch, but he's talented. And
But then he would
really
get
put
credit.
them over more.
Well, yeah, he never buried people. That's what I love about JR.
But when he did bury them, it was done in character to make them stronger. Like he'd be like, he's a no good son of a bitch. He wouldn't bury him by like, like actual burial. His Jim Ross's character would be like, I hate this son of a bitch.
I hate him.
He's an evil bastard, but goddamn.
But it was never. But it was never, this guy sucks.
Yeah.
This guy, he can't beat Steve Austin. As soon as JR says he can't beat Steve Austin, why the fuck am I paying to see him wrestle Steve Austin? Yeah. JR is smarter than 99% of the commentators out there.
I mean,
I'll give him that.
I've gone back and rewatched some old Raws, like not maybe like just post Attitude Era Raws, but like nobody sells the end of a Raw like Jim Ross, man. Every week it was that screaming, like, oh, McMahon, son of a bitch, he's gonna get it next week. Like he made you want to tune in again.
Yeah. We're going to take a step back now. We're going from 2004. We're going to jump backwards to 2003 to a match that I told you that I wasn't looking forward to watching. I had no
surprised
interest in watching this match for this list, just because, let's be honest, man, I'm not a Big Show fan. But this match did it for me, man. We're talking about Kurt Angle, the Big Show, and Brock Lesnar.
You know what it is?
What a triple threat match we got.
Brock and the Big Show are magical together. They have this like awesome, weird chemistry.
Yeah.
And then Kurt Angle's just fucking Kurt Angle. Like
he's one of the greats.
Yeah.
I mean, doesn't Angle slam on the Big Show through a table like it's nothing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This was Angle's one of his first matches back from his neck surgery as well.
And Angle slammed the Big Show through a table like it was nothing.
Yeah. In fact, this was like
with a broken freaking neck.
Yeah, Kurt Angle had just returned from his neck injury at this point. This was July, right?
Yeah.
So, and then him and Brock would fight at SummerSlam the next month. Yeah, Kurt Angle definitely on fire here. I was worried about him coming back so fast after the neck surgery, but it worked.
But they bring him in, they put him over.
Yeah.
And put him over strong against two of the biggest, strongest guys in the company. Yeah, it was a good match. I really enjoyed it.
Very underrated match.
Speaking of underrated, this match I'm sure has gone under a lot of people's radars just because people don't watch the product. But we're jumping to the more current era. We're going to 2021. We're going to the first NXT Vengeance Day pay-per-view, and we're doing the main event of that pay-per-view, which had Pete Dunne take on Finn Balor.
Now, I'm not gonna lie, I have never seen this match. I don't watch a lot of NXT. And I didn't even know this match happened. Like when I was reading all the matches, I was like, holy shit. Like this is wild. So it's definitely on my list of like, okay, Tyler, take a step back and watch a match.
No.
I love this version of Finn Balor too, the heel Finn Balor as a champion.
Yes. So did you end up watching the match or no?
No, I haven't watched it. I just I forgot about this Finn Balor run in general.
Yeah.
I just forgot about it.
Until recently, I forgot that he even went back to NXT. I forgot. And
he did some awesome stuff.
100%. And look at the time frame. We're talking February 21. So this is right in the middle of the Thunderdome. You know what I mean? And the match was good enough for you to forget that it was in the Thunderdome.
Yeah, this is when I kind of stopped watching NXT. Just because, they were transitioning away from all the guys that I loved. And they were doing this kind of new breed. I just didn't get into the Karrion Kross and Keith Lee era.
Yeah, but I mean,
I know they were like all these guys Pete were Dunne still on the card.
Pete Dunne was still doing stuff, and I mean, I think Adam Cole was still back and forth doing some shit.
Yeah, he was still around too. Something just felt different about NXT to me at this point. Like I don't know. I just was starting to lose interest in the product at that point.
Well, I mean, most of Dusty's guys were gone. They were starting to leave. And it was becoming more of Triple H's company. And then all of a sudden, a lot less of Triple H's company. Because this is around the time Triple H took his leave. I can't remember if he was sick or injured or something. And Nick Khan kind of fucking destroyed it. This is very shortly before 2.0 becomes a thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But if anybody who hasn't seen this, including you, Tyler, go and watch it. I'm not going to ruin too much of the match. It's just a phenomenal match that you would expect from an amazing wrestler like Pete Dunne and a tremendous in-ring performer like Finn Balor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know Finn and Kyle O'Reilly tore it down, I think the month before this as well, or the month after. They really had a banger too. So Finn Balor was on fire at this point.
He really was. Speak of the great in-ring performers, I'm going to bring it to three of the best that we had to grow up to. And that's The Rock, The Undertaker, Kurt Angle. We're going to 2002.
I thought this was going to be your number one.
It was hard, man. It was really hard. For a while, it was my number one. It was.
So, okay, I know what your number one is now. I have to rewatch both of these matches before I can give you my honest opinion on it.
Okay.
I just remember, I'm just going based on my memories of many, many years ago when I watched these matches. I personally like the triple threat better. That's just me personally.
Yeah,
but
and that's fine and dandy.
But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you're wrong either, because your number one is a fucking banger too.
I wrote down a note that I forgot to mention up at my number 4 at the 2003 Vengeance. I just wrote a funny little note. Did you know that before the match went on, do you know what the dark match was?
In 2003? Actually, it might have been on
Heat. Yeah, I don't know if it was dark. It might have been on Heat. It was Chris Kanyon versus Ultimo Dragon.
Oh, you know what? I do remember that.
Isn't it? I just find that funny. I find that crazy.
Dragon had just debuted in the company around that time.
Yeah, like he had a cup of coffee, but I like that's your dark match. Like that's crazy to me.
How we never got him versus Rey Mysterio in the WWE ring is beyond me. But whatever. Who better? So
let's talk about this. Let's talk about what you said the other day. Some people consider the greatest triple threat match of all time.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to argue. There's definitely a lot of, and you know what? Like, even in Vengeance alone, Vengeance got some great triple threat matches in its history. Jericho, Cena, and Christian comes to mind immediately as well. The year after this with Brock and Big Show that you talked about earlier. But there was just something crazy about this match. Like, it's probably the most forgotten good match in wrestling history.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that. Yeah, it's one of those matches where you watch it all those years later. You sit down and watch it and be like, why don't we talk about this more? And it's only got to be because it's a Vengeance show.
It's just forgotten. I mean? It's just in between some big stuff. And
what I mean is, if this exact match booked exactly the same, nothing different, nothing at all, you take it and you put it on SummerSlam, then we'd be talking about it every fucking year, and we'd be talking about it as the greatest triple threat match ever. But because it was on a Vengeance pay-per-view in 2000 and what did I say it was 2002, 2002. It I think that's why we don't talk about it.
By the way, 2002, one of my favorite years in wrestling history.
We know,
like not even just WWE, all wrestling. 2002 was.
I believe that's your favorite Rumble. I believe that's your favorite SummerSlam.
It is definitely my favorite SummerSlam. That SummerSlam is one of my favorite pay-per-views of all time.
What's the Mania that year?
Mania was 19.
That's 19? I can't argue with you, man.
No, I'm lying. It was 18. It was 18. It was Hogan and Rock. I was there, so yeah, that's good. Yeah, disappointing Mania. Great moment, though. Yeah, the chair. You want to buy it? $900.
You're a fucking con artist, man.
I'm a carny, brother.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
no, this is another one, Mike. You just make me want to watch a lot of wrestling, and I don't have the time to do it, man. This list is hurting my soul.
I have a hard time choosing lists these days that make me watch a lot of wrestling. This one was easy because I'm like, it was 11 matches. I can fit 11 matches into my life if I do it really carefully. Well, thankfully, I take the bus twice a day. So those bus rides had wrestling on them. You know what I mean? My lunch breaks at work.
I know how busy you've been lately. And when you told me you're doing this list, because you didn't tell me till like Saturday or Friday night or Saturday. And I was like, oh man,
I had already
what's the backup?
I'd already started, but by the time I told you, it was already 2 matches deep.
Yeah, that's not bad then. That's not bad. I've been prepping my next list as well, so I'm hopefully going to be able to have a better showing on my last couple lists. Although I stand by my Rumble list.
A couple nights ago, I called you at like 1 o'clock in the morning. You didn't answer your phone. I wonder why.
I was sleeping.
1 o'clock in the morning. Yeah.
Now, normally that's the best time to get a hold of me.
I know.
Now I go to bed at like 11 o'clock.
But I called you because I was so excited because I watched a match that I'm not sure I ever watched before. And it's my number one. Mm-hmm. And I can't believe you talk about you can't believe we don't talk about this triple threat match enough. I can't believe we don't talk about this match enough. And once again, I think it's because it's stuck in the middle of a Vengeance pay-per-view. But this time it's stuck in 2005. I think this is one of the best Hell in a Cell matches we don't talk about.
I think there's
Triple H and Batista in Vengeance 2005.
There's 2 Hell in a Cell matches to me that never get talked about enough. This is one of them, and the other one is the Batista and Edge from Survivor Series.
Let me just break.
Batista and Taker. Batista and Taker. So.
Oh, okay. Yes, that is a great one. That is a great one. Let me break something down for you here for a second before we talk about the actual match. 2005 Vengeance. This is an underrated, forgotten card.
Honestly, I just pulled the match. This was going to be the exact same thing I was just about to say. I just pulled the whole card up.
Look at this, man. Your opener is Carlito versus Shelton Benjamin for the IC title. You got Kane versus Edge when they were doing a really cool story.
Yeah.
Michaels versus Angle and just a phenomenal wrestling match.
Honestly, go back and watch this match. It might be better than the WrestleMania match.
Quite possibly. You want to talk about great triple threat matches? You mentioned this earlier. John Cena versus Jericho and Christian.
This is right after Cena got drafted to Raw too, so he was real hot at the time.
Yeah.
And Christian was doing his like, Tomko, give me a beat. Like he was like chirping Cena for being like a vanilla rapper. It's really good.
And of course you have this, your main event for the show in Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
And this match. So this event happened in June. Let's break down the timeline here. Triple H has already lost to Batista at WrestleMania. And then he lost, I can't remember the show, but he lost to Batista again.
Backlash.
Was it Backlash?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, if I'm not mistaken, you can correct me if I'm wrong, then they did a thing where it was like, they did like a Gold Rush tournament on Raw that I believe Edge won.
Yeah.
And then they had Edge and Batista won, and then Triple H came out and beat the fuck out of Batista.
I don't recall that. So I'm going to take your word on that one. I can't remember exactly the storyline.
And that's pretty much how Triple H weasels his way into getting another title shot.
Yeah.
And lost again because Triple H and his golden shovel over there. He loves to bury people. He loves to job everybody out.
No, that was only
Batista 3 times.
That was 2001 Triple H. No, 2002. 2002 Triple H is the one that buried everybody.
But 1 year worth of fucking burying people has followed this man his entire career, and I think it sucks.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you look back at some of the guys he buried, like RVD was a hard one to swallow, but like buried Bubba and
Scott Steiner. Come on,
Scott Steiner buried himself. Scott Steiner buried himself, brother.
But if you haven't seen this Hell in a Cell match, man, it's entertaining. It's bloody as fuck. It's violent. They use chains. They use
the chair wrapped in barbed wire is what I remember.
Oh my God. So good, so good. And I've watched a bunch of their matches recently, so now I'm mixing up finishes. This is the finish where he was going to use the sledgehammer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Gets him up for the bomb. He was going to use the sledgehammer, and he fucked up, and he finishes off the bomb. Beautiful.
Yeah, it was like a race. Who could hit it first, the sledgehammer or the bomb? Yeah, I like that.
Exactly. Love it. Great match. One of their better matches, and they've had great matches.
I think this is their best match.
Would you put Batista up there? Maybe let's say top 3 when it comes to foes of Triple H. When it comes to the best rivals of Triple H.
Oh.
Is Batista up there for you?
I'd have to think about that. Like Shawn would be number 1, right?
Shawn's number 1 for sure because they had a couple of really great stories, but that initial one really
I'd say Foley would be number 2.
Foley would fight for my number 1 spot, to be perfectly honest.
Me too.
Foley and Shawn are interchangeable.
I would say Rock has to be in the top 3 as well.
Rock's up there. Austin's got to be up there.
Austin would be up there. Batista would be up there.
Randy
maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd put Randy in there. Cena would probably squeak his way in there, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough, man.
I think Batista's at least top 5, if not top 3.
I would say I would feel comfortable putting Batista in a top 5 spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know who else was a great rival of Triple H? Was Ric Flair. They had a really good feud.
They had a fun feud there.
I think he might hit in my number 7 spot, maybe.
And then as long as you give me what I want.
Yeah, okay, Batista, you go to number 6 because of that promo. You know what, though? I think that you gave the people what they want this week because that's a good list. I'm not going to argue.
I gave the people what they want with Allen Angels and Vengeance. There we go.
Your day today, buddy. Happy Valentine's Day. Next week.
Now buy me flowers.
Next week, we are going to have a special treat for you as well. Oh, by the way, do you know that it's it's our 1-year anniversary of talking to Tyson Kidd, by the way?
You pick up the weirdest.
I got a Facebook memory today that in a couple days, well, by the time this airs, it'll be the anniversary of our 100th episode. Here we are, 152 now. And for next week's episode, we are going to be joined by our Impact Wrestling correspondent for a little bit.
Yeah, and I never understand how that works. How are we at 152, but our 3-year anniversary isn't for another month?
We missed a couple. We doubled up a couple weeks at the beginning, and we missed a couple weeks at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're a little, whatever. We can kayfabe the numbers, brother. Impact Wrestling correspondent Mr. Adam Content had the pleasure to sit down with the current one third of the current Impact Wrestling Knockout Tag Team Champions, Taya Valkyrie. So we're gonna have that great interview for you next week on the show. But if you can't
let me tell you, you're in for a treat, man.
Yeah, it's a great interview. And if you can't wait till next week, then jump over to our YouTube page. We have an exclusive early preview of it for you there. So
it's so good, and he's so good. She's so good. It's a great interview.
Yeah, I can't wait for everyone to hear that. And if you don't want to wait, head over to YouTube while you're there. Like, subscribe, all that shit that I'm supposed to say that all the hipsters are doing. And
if only we could see if Taya Valkyrie live somewhere soon.
I was thinking maybe Windsor.
Yeah, baby.
And next week I'll be doing the list of the top 7 greatest tag team wrestlers of all time. So
you're gonna pull the plug on that one, are you?
Yeah, I'm finally gonna do it. I got some people. I gotta just do some stats, crunch some numbers. That's what I am. I'm a numbers guy, all right, people. I pull out the stats. Stats go a long way with me.
Don't give me rookie numbers then, bitch.
I never do. My Royal Rumble list. I stand by it. That's it. I got nothing else to say. I'm tired. I want to go to bed. What do you think?
I left.
You gone. Mike's already gone. Do I have to take it home this week since you've been counted out? That feels weird.
Hey man, if I had to do your weird intro last week. So.
All right, you know what? Let me do the outro this week. Then I never get to do it. On behalf of Alan Angels, on behalf of Mike doing a very good list this week, and on behalf of Young J Lee, because I'm wearing a shirt right now. Why not?
Yeah.
You have been counted out.
Cheers.